What's up, everybody? We have a very, very special and unique podcast coming at you today. As you can see, we are not in the studio, and I'm with the gentleman, J.W. Roth, who is the Untitled Chairman, founder, owner, all the above.
Notes Live.
Notes Live, which is the Amphitheater that's coming to Murfreesboro. And we just happened to have a chance meeting when you guys were in town in Murfreesboro. Obviously, you can tell we're not in the studio. We were in Colorado Springs. At your location.
You're in the Boot Barn Hall in Colorado Springs. So.
This is so cool. And by the way, this place is nice.
Yeah.
Like very nice. You can see behind us. This is very cool. But yeah, we had a chance meeting at Just Love Coffee at the Fountains of Gateway. And next thing you know, found out I was going to be out here. You were having a show. You're having a fundraising event tomorrow, which we'll talk about in a minute. And so you're going to let me participate in that. Thank you.
Yeah.
But
they put you on a motorcycle.
Yeah, heck yeah. I get to ride an Indian.
Yeah.
I've been riding since I was 8, folks, so I love this. But yeah, you were nice enough to let us bug you for a little bit and come on here, and we can talk about what's coming to Murfreesboro and all that other stuff.
We're excited.
Oh, I know. This is going to be fantastic. But before we get into all that, if you don't mind, for our viewers and listeners, tell us about you. Like, what's your background? How did you get into music? Where did you start? All that sort of stuff.
So I grew up right here, just off the Greenland Ranch, which is one of the biggest ranches on the west side of the United States. We were just a ranching family, and my dad ran a handful of cows. So unfortunately, he didn't own the ranch. That would have been better. But that's where I grew up. Started in the agricultural business, working in packing plants and working around agriculture. 20 years ago, I had an opportunity to invest in a packing plant. And actually, it was longer ago than that. 30 years ago, I had an opportunity to invest in a packing plant.
Very cool.
And ultimately, that led to building Roth Premium Foods. And today, Roth Premium Foods is the third largest prepared foods company in America.
Nice.
We build product for almost every grocery store in the United States. So that's what we do.
So even out in Murfreesboro, Middle Tennessee, chances are we've had some of your food.
I guarantee it's in every I guarantee it's in every grocery store in Tennessee.
There you go.
So, but anyway, so that's how I got started. I'm a live music nut. I've loved live music my entire life. From the days when I didn't have any money and I had to sneak into concerts to today. I love it. So about 10 years ago, I had the opportunity to start investing in some properties here along I-25. And one of them was the property where we're sitting.
Gotcha.
And a restaurant group had come to me and said, we'd like to build a restaurant there. And if you'll build it, we'll lease it, and it'll be good for you and it'll be good for us. So I told my wife what I was thinking about doing, and she said, well, you don't know anything about the restaurant business. So I don't know if that's a good idea or not. But anyway, long story short, I did it against her advice, and the people that leased it, they went broke. So my choice was either I'm going to build a new restaurant company and run restaurants, or I'm going to find somebody else to run the restaurant, and they'll probably go broke. So I chose the first one, and we built the restaurant business, and it's worked very, very well. Same sort of with the rest of the campus here. So that's how I got started in the business.
Okay, so I'm curious, from food to music, what was the light bulb kind of moment where you just went, I need to do this? Like, is it a long time passion?
It is a long time passion, but honestly, it was circumstances. So, I own the ground. I ended up with the restaurant. I love live music. Kylan, my wife, wanted to go on the wine train. Have you been on the wine train?
I have not.
So you start in Napa and you go up and you visit all the wineries.
Oh, very cool.
And at the very last winery that you go to is called the Krug Winery. It's part of the Mondavi family.
Wow.
And in the front yard of where the train turns around, literally turns around right in his front yard, there's a small concert venue. And that night they had a classic rock show. So Kylan and I, she bought the ticket that you get to see the show when you're there. So we saw the show. When we finished the show, we got back on the train, and as we were headed back to Napa, I told her, when I get home, I'm gonna build a concert venue just like this one, next to the restaurant that we have in Car Springs. And she said, you don't know anything about the venue business, and blah, 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 blah. Long story short, that's how this thing got built. That's how this got built. And it's done very, very well.
So you went from a wine train ride tour to, I like this music that you were to, let's start my own.
That's exactly right. So I sat down with my kids and I said, listen, you guys got to do well. One's going to medical school and the other one, fortunately, runs our entire Roth plant. But I told them, you need to do well at this because Dad's going to go blow your inheritance. And so I'm just half teasing, but that's how we're building venues.
That's cool. So what, like this venue here behind us, how many does this seat? Like how many?
Well, there's different configurations. So if you take a configuration like this one here, it'll seat roughly 500 for tonight's an Eagles, Big Eagles tribute band.
Nice.
So, and it's a fundraiser for the police department. Okay. So it'll seat 500 for that. Shows where it's like Easton Corbin. Easton Corbin actually opened this venue for us. Back-to-back nights, and we did 3,000, 1,500 each night standing. So depends on the configuration.
Okay. Well, outside of the music, I mean, this looks like it'd be a great place for just events in general.
We do.
Right?
People think of us as an event, as a music-centric business. Yeah. But the truth of the matter is about 60% of what goes on in this building is fundraisers, city events. The state holds the state of the state here, and about 40% is music.
Okay, very good. What types do you have more, like local artists? Do you get big names, or does it just depend?
For this size tour is going to be Bellamy Brothers, Easton Corbin, Little Texas. So those size bands, Confederate Railroad played here not too long ago to a sold-out crowd. So those size bands, and then a lot of the local artists are openers for those bands.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Nice. All right.
Yeah.
So we had. I wanted to address just one of these.
Yeah.
Before I don't want to get into too many of them just yet. But we had done a poll on our Facebook page and the website. You know, people that if they could ask you a question, what would they ask? And thank you, everybody. I got about 15 of them here that I narrowed them down to, because there was a lot of questions, but there was a lot of repetitive ones. So I'm curious, because this is the first location, and you have a second one coming up where?
In northern Atlanta market of Gainesville. So it'll open in another 60 days or so. We have a campus opening there.
So Murfreesboro is the third location.
Murfreesboro is number 3. Yep.
Okay. When is that expected to start and open and all that other stuff?
Well, we just finished our development plan here in the last few weeks, and so we're now going to work through permitting, and hopefully we'll have a shovel in the ground first of the year.
Okay, very good. Man, that's right around the corner.
Yeah, so, and I think you'll first tour. The first touring act for Murfreesboro would be figure June, right around Memorial Day 24.
Okay, nice. Well, that's sooner than I thought. So you guys must be moving when you build these things. But one thing that kept coming up that people asked was just, why Murfreesboro? What drew you to Murfreesboro, like to open up a spot there?
Well, obviously, the Tri-Cities there between Murfreesboro, Franklin, and Nashville. I mean, that is music in America, right?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that's music city. It's music centric. And so from day one, when we started the business, we said we're coming there. Where we're going to come, I don't know exactly, but we're coming there. And so we put our president of our real estate division, which is Bob Mudd. We put him on Murfreesboro. And he started looking at a lot of opportunities in Rutherford County, in the Murfreesboro, Franklin, Nashville area, and we ended up taking this particular location simply because it's beautiful. It sits on the Stones River.
Oh yeah.
It works good in the community in terms of traffic, infrastructure, those kinds of things. And then obviously we fell in love with and have done very well building a working relationship with the leadership in Murfreesboro.
Oh, for sure.
And so that's a long-winded answer for how we ended up.
Well, you've been out there several times.
Lots of times.
Yeah, that's hence our chance meeting. I got you. And you've met with the city several times, and Shane and everybody. So, you guys have done different studies and stuff too, right? On the traffic and everything. We'll get into that.
And we do that with every place we go, whether it's here or whether it was in Gainesville, Georgia, or wherever it is. You start with the very first question you ask yourself is, how am I going to be a good neighbor?
I got you.
So, what we build, what we build is big.
Yeah.
So in Gainesville, for example, it's an entire city block downtown northern Atlanta. So what you build big. So you have to sort of start by figuring out who all is affected, and you have to listen to them, and then you have to build your projects around that. So in this particular case, yes, we did traffic studies, parking studies, noise studies, all of those things, with being a good neighbor in mind.
Okay. Got it. So just when you said Murfreesboro, Franklin, Nashville, so Murfreesboro just won them all out? Is that what it was? Or
Murfreesboro won them all out hands down, simply because of the location. I mean, those 18 acres on the Stones River, it's hard to find.
Yeah.
It's hard to find. It's hard to find.
Definitely. Well, if you don't mind, I'm going to jump into some of these because I know your time is limited. You're a very busy man, so thank you for all this. But
absolutely.
As far as your venue is concerned, what other venues are comparable to something like this? What would you compare it to, if you could, or is there any out there?
There's not a three concept campus in the country.
Okay.
So the concepts being our smokehouse and tavern.
Yep.
You know, we're going to build a 12,000, 13,000 foot smokehouse and tavern on this. We're building our hall, the hall at Bourbon Brothers.
Yep.
Here in Colorado Springs, it's called the Boot Barn Hall.
Got it.
That's an 18 to 19,000 square foot indoor with a big mezzanine indoor theater / event center / concert hall, and then a 4,500 seat amphitheater.
Nice.
Doesn't exist. So there's nothing really to compare that to. You can take components and compare the components and compare the concepts, but as a whole campus, there's nothing to compare to.
Yeah, well, you just beat my next question. Thank you. That was perfect. So what was going to be on the Murfreesboro campus?
Yeah.
And then I got this one a lot, actually, as far as like the Smokehouse Tavern. Like, what type of food is it?
You had it for lunch today.
Well, I know that.
So
which was really
so
good,
at the
by
end
the
of the day, it's sort of a combination of what you would have in the South / Cajun, and then what you would have in sort of the Midwest, Kansas City barbecue.
Got it.
And then what you would have on the West Coast in terms of the Pacific Northwest being the salmon and the sort of Northwest salads like we build.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah, because I can tell
There's
you
a little bit for everybody.
that jambalaya I had was spot on. That
Smoking
was good.
good.
Yeah. So what was this little room we walked through again on the other side of the smokehouse? It opens at 4.
So that's the Bourbon Room.
The Bourbon Room.
So one of the things that I have been since I was old enough, maybe even before I was old enough, is I love bourbon. And rare bourbons are interesting to me. And so we've collected a lot of rare bourbons.
Nice.
And so in every campus that we build a bourbon room.
Okay.
And it will have between 125 and 150 of the rarest bourbons. And as you know, every year you get your allotments. And so you fight for your allotments, and from basically January to April is the best allotments. But that's what you walk through. It's the Bourbon Room, opens at 4, and you know.
That was a very cool room, by the way.
It's a very cool room.
Thank you all back there behind the scenes. Give us a little tour of that. That was neat. So Murfreesboro is getting one.
Oh yeah, they're going to get 2 of them.
2 of them?
They'll get 2 of them. Yeah.
Right. Okay, cool. Actually, kind of alluding back to one of the questions I asked about this place, a lot of people were just curious as to the type of shows that you're going to attract, that you're going to put on in Murfreesboro. So more big-time events, more local. Is it the same as this one? Or
no, it would be, well, let me answer it this way. This campus right today is a 2-concept campus. We're building a 3rd piece of the campus, which is our amphitheater across the highway. But for right now, it's a 2-campus concept. So in Murfreesboro, you will see a lot of the same talent, the same artists in our hall at Bourbon Brothers there, as you see here in the Boot Barn Hall. And then you will see the larger shows in the amphitheater.
Okay. Yeah, and then just kind of
a little bit genre, not genre specific. So it's across the.
You totally got that next question.
There you go.
Thank you.
Yeah,
okay.
there you go.
Was there a certain type you're focusing on? Is what people wanted to work. So
my favorite music is classic rock. So when we opened this, I told everybody that the primary show you're going to see here is the same bands that play in my car.
Oh, I got you.
But at the end of the day, the new campuses are going to have a little of everything.
Okay. Just a heads up, there's a local band. I'm totally giving them a shout out right now in Murfreesboro. They're called Mixtape. They're an 80s cover band, but they put on a show.
It's crazy.
And they bring out a ton of people.
It's crazy. I'm going to tell you something.
What?
So we have a band locally here in Colorado Springs called the Sofa Killers.
The Sofa Killers?
And that's what they do. They do classic 70s, 80s, and a little bit of 90s rock.
Nice.
And it's standing room only. The tickets actually sell better than any artist ticket that we sell. Now, they're not as expensive, but they're the fastest selling ticket that we sell here is for Sofa Killers.
That's all. That sounds just like Mixtape. And
it's a ton of fun.
And they wear the 80s outfit. Like they come out like the Cobra Kai from Karate Kids.
It's a ton of fun.
They put on a show, man. It's awesome. So, but another one I got, a lot of people were curious, just how many nights a week is the venue going to be open? I know it's a little different because you got the restaurant.
So the campus is open every day, 7 days a week.
Okay.
In terms of the hall, you'll probably have 2 ticketed events a week and 1 rental a week, if you want to think of it that way.
Gotcha.
And then the amphitheater, you'll do 2 to 3 events a week, ranging from what might be a movie night in the summertime
that's cool.
to a bigger 4,500 seat concert.
Movie night? That sounds cool.
Yeah,
All
we're
right.
going to do a lot of movie nights. We're going to do a lot of movie nights in all of our campuses.
Okay, so concert venue, movie nights, what else you got?
Yes, a lot of rentals, a lot of proms. We
proms.
host a lot of proms here. We'll do a lot of graduations in our bigger amphitheaters.
Very cool.
Yep.
Oh, nice. Okay. Well, cool. That answers. You're just going right through these for me. Thank you. I love it. So, how many concerts do you anticipate, like on a weekly basis, monthly basis, that sort of thing? I know we kind of alluded to that a little bit earlier, but
two of them in the hall and two of them in the amphitheater, and that would be sort of the sweet spot of the amphitheater. The reason I'm going to hesitate on that answer is certain times of the year it'll only be two. Your sweet spot on outdoor is going to be Memorial Day to Labor Day, and then give it another 30 days on either side of that.
Okay.
And then in the middle of the winter in January, you're probably not going to have shows outside. You're going to have shows like you do here, and that would be 2 shows a week.
Okay, gotcha. This was an interesting one that actually came up a couple times, so I figured I'd throw it in here.
Sure.
But it was just, people are curious, do you foresee the venue attracting more, like in Murfreesboro, a lot of people go to Nashville, and that's like, if they want to go to an event, go experience something, do you see Murfreesboro as attracting people from outside to, hey, let's go to the amphitheater, let's check this out?
Yeah, that's artist specific. So it depends who the artist is. You think of your favorite artist, and your favorite artist is not going to be in Nashville, but your favorite artist is going to be in Franklin. Or it's not going to be in Franklin, they're going to be in Murfreesboro.
Yeah.
So the answer is sort of artist specific.
Okay, cool. There we go. Now, if you don't mind, well, you answered that one too. You're just running right through these for me. Now, get to the harder questions a little bit. But before I address one, a big thing people were asking about was the traffic and whatnot. But also just last week, right before we came out here, the city has released this big giant medical center plan to widen it. And that's part of, you guys are taking care of that.
We're part of the money.
Yeah.
In terms of the traffic signals and what's happening there on the parkway.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's part of our development plan.
Yeah.
That's not all our development plan, but we're a significant piece of it.
Oh yeah, no, but it's cool that y'all are jumping in and helping with that. So just help with that traffic.
There's two sides to it. So you have the traffic plan, which is the study that we did.
Yes.
Then you have the traffic plan, which is the management side.
Gotcha.
So we've completed the study piece, which is what you're probably referring to in the development plan. Then the next piece is going to be the traffic management piece, and that is in process right now with the city, which includes the additional infrastructure that it's going to take to make this happen.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, I don't even know how that process starts. Is there like a third-party company that comes in? Okay, gotcha.
Yep. So in our particular
before.
case, now the name just fell out of my head. Kimberly Horn is the largest in the country. They do the bulk of larger amphitheaters, coliseums, arenas, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And they are our partner in building both the traffic study and the management plan.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
I can tell you this: the parking you will start to finish from a show being over to the time when it's exited, 45 minutes.
Oh, that's not bad at all.
So it's fast.
Awesome. And then another one people were asking about, being that you're so close to the Greenway and Stones River.
Yep.
Is there going to be any impact on the Greenway at all, or the Stones River directly behind it, anything like that?
No.
There you go.
No.
You said, boom, done.
Yeah.
Because I know you're far enough away from it.
Sure.
Right. Okay.
And we're environmentally cautious of in everything that we do. So the last thing we would do is impact the river.
Yeah. Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah.
And then flipping it over on the other side, people were asking about the noise, of course, with the concert, but being that the hospital is so close.
Yeah. So the hospital is to if you looked at it normally, it'd be the south side of the stage.
Gotcha.
So back is to the hospital, and the noise would be going the opposite way, sort of. I don't know if that's up or down the river, but you know what I'm talking about.
Yes.
And then today, so Listen is our partner in building our AV systems and they constructed our noise study. That's very different than amphitheaters that were built 30 or 40 or 50 years ago. So then everything projected. Today it goes both directions, and it keeps a lot of that in the, if you want to think of it this way, in the bowl. So I'm the wrong guy to actually describe how the noise systems work, but I can tell you that Listen is building it. And and they've done a phenomenal job for us.
Well, they're audio engineers. That's what they
Best
do.
of the business.
Right? Yeah.
Best
awesome.
of the best.
Okay. Well, okay. Got that one. And I'm just going to let you just talk in general. Just go for it.
What are we riding tomorrow? We're riding Indians.
Oh, riding Indians.
Riding Indians, baby.
Actually, you know what? Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, one of the things, if you didn't already know this about Murfreesboro, people that live there love Murfreesboro. They love the community. They love giving back. Oh, yeah, of course.
They should. I do too.
Yeah. And are there any plans? Now, I already know what you do here. We've talked about it. You do lots of fundraisers and you give back to the community and doing all kinds of stuff.
Yep.
Do you plan on doing that, Murfreesboro?
Absolutely.
Too? Yeah.
Absolutely. We want to, just like we are here, we don't want to just come in to the community. We want to come in and become a part of the community.
Yeah.
And so we're that way here. We've already started that process in northern Atlanta, and we'll absolutely be that in Murfreesboro.
Okay. Now, how many jobs do you anticipate creating over there?
It depends. So depends on the time of the year.
Well,
so
yes,
throughout the summertime, we will create about 300 full-time and part-time jobs working inside. And some of that employment is existing employment. For example, security will represent 50 or so officers working traffic and working security inside. So not necessarily employees of Notes or employees of the Sunset, but it'll create employment of those numbers.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you said like security and traffic. So you're going to have people directing traffic and helping out with that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, even better.
Yep.
All right.
Yep.
I'm just going to leave these here. You can just go on your own. Dang, you're knocking these out. So, okay. But, actually, I really like this one.
Yeah.
This one, I'm going to read this verbatim.
Okay.
So it says, what are some of the lessons you've learned, both good and bad, from years of building and managing these venues that you're going to address in Murfreesboro, both good and bad?
Yeah. So I'll give you the bad side first.
Let's hear it.
So one of the things that we learned in building our venues and in building our businesses, that it's probably best to start with your community involvement earlier rather than later. And so what we did in Murfreesboro, we started earlier. What we did in Gainesville, we started earlier. That came from lessons learned in Colorado Springs, where you didn't start as early as you could. That doesn't mean that over a period of time you don't do the exact same things and create the exact same sort of mitigation plans that you would no matter when you started. But if I had to say, I think the starting earlier is better, and that's a lesson that we learned that will pay off in Murfreesboro. The things that we've learned as well is, build a good team up front. So Murfreesboro is going to have the advantage of having the Notes Live team, BCA architects, which is the best in the country, the best sound guys. The advantage Murfreesboro is going to have is they're going to have the A team that has been created as a result of all of this. So that's the good part. So good and bad, that's what I would say.
Well, I can definitely attest for those watching and listening, the team and the people the ones you don't see behind the cameras back there, everybody.
I have the best job. That's where it actually happens back there.
Well, I mean, just going back and forth, and when we reached out originally, just said, hey, what are the odds? And you guys were like, bam, and just been on it and just been so welcoming and generous. And thank you,
pumped.
by the way.
We're pumped.
This has been really
one of the
cool.
things we're going to build down there, and I'll just tell you, is one of the goals is to build the most luxurious, not the biggest amphitheater, but it'll be one of the most luxurious amphitheaters ever built. So one of the things we're going to be doing is going to be building 60. I'm going to give a little secret away, but part of this project is we're going to build 60 fire pit suites into the venue, and it's going to be awesome. And our team's going to be down there talking to the community about those fire pit suites here shortly.
Okay, cool. Now, maybe I shouldn't ask those questions because they're going to talk to the community shortly.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay.
There you go.
Never mind. I'll hold off on those questions. Those were specific to something like that.
I get it.
Yeah, but very cool. So do you have any, I was going to say secret sauce because I was thinking of the restaurant we just ate was so good, but anything that's going to be Murfreesboro specific versus any of your other venues?
There will be. There'll be some Murfreesboro, Tennessee specific entrees on our menu, and there'll also be some Murfreesboro, Tennessee specific distillers in our Bourbon Room. And listen, I don't know. Here's the other thing. I don't know if you're religious or not, but the meatloaf that we serve here and in Murfreesboro, same meatloaf they serve in heaven. That's how good it is. So it'll be on the menu as well.
Just for reference, everybody, when I got here, when we went to go eat, they were like, try the meatloaf, try the meatloaf, try the meatloaf.
Best smoked meatloaf in the country.
Which I said I'm going to eat later because I wanted to try the jambalaya.
Yeah.
So, and thank you, Vince, for the jambalaya.
Awesome.
That was very, very good. So, man, that's awesome. God, you rocketed through those questions like nothing. That was phenomenal. Dang.
You good? excited to be in Murfreesboro.
Yeah, this is awesome. So, and I know you're a very busy man, so I wanted to try and keep this somewhat short because I know you got to head back.
Thank you.
Oh yeah, thank you. You want to get 15 minutes of fame? You want to say anything to our viewers and audience? Anything out there?
See you at the show.
It's short and sweet. I love it. All right. Well, there you go, everybody. If you got any more questions or comments, put them in the comments below, and we'll address those at hopefully another time. So
awesome.
we'll come back. So
thanks for having us.
Yeah, and thanks for watching, everybody. We appreciate it. We'll see you on the next one.